Greetings, my beautiful lovelies. It's Emmy. How are you? It's great to see you and welcome back. Today's video is sponsored by Built. Built is a loyalty program that takes your largest monthly expense, your rent, and transforms it into valuable points, which you then can redeem towards things like flights, hotel stays, fitness classes, Lyft rides, Amazon.com purchases, even future rent payments. Super smart. And the best part is that there's no cost to join and you can start earning points no matter where you live. And Built has been ranked the highest value point currency by the Points Guy. I think what I love most about Built is the fact that you're earning rewards on something that you're going to already spend, your monthly rent. You might as well earn something for that. Built is unlocking experiences and VIP treatments in your neighborhood, including complimentary add-ons at Built Partners, comedy, and dining experiences. So if you'd like to try Built for yourself and start earning rewards on your rent payments, you can click the link down below, scan the QR code above, make sure you use my URL so they know that I sent you. Big thanks to Built for sponsoring this video and for allowing me to make better videos for all of you. Alrighty, my lovelies, today we're going to be making something very humble. We are going to be making cabin biscuits, and they come from the third class menu of the ill-fated ship, the Titanic. So many of you have got in touch with me via social media, make sure you follow me, and have requested items from the various menus that were served on the Titanic. Now the Titanic, of course, was the ill-fated jumbo luxury liner that sank in the ocean and never completed its first journey. Many people perished, and apparently there are several menus that still exist from that ill-fated night of April 14th, 1912. So apparently several of the menus survived along with survivors. They were kept as mementos. So we know exactly what was served the night the Titanic sank. So interesting, right? And apparently there are 3 different classes, first, second, and third class. Today we're going to be making cabin biscuits that were served to the third class, which were the most meager and humble of the travelers on the Titanic. So I thought I'd make cabin biscuits today because they were served throughout the day apparently, but specifically they're listed as the last supper on the third class menu, along with cheese and tea or coffee. So the recipe and much of what I've learned about that fateful night came from a book called Last Dinners on the Titanic, written by Rich Archbold, which I checked out of my library. I will put it here. I do not have it with me, but I'll put it here so you can see it. And it contains all kinds of recipes from the various menus. Let me know down in the comments what you're most curious about. I am also very curious about the first class meals, which you can imagine were much more elaborate than the third class meals, very fancy. So I'd like to tackle one of those as well. But it was just very interesting to see the differences in menus and what was served. So the third class meals primarily consisted of things like cabin biscuits, coffee, tea, hash, potatoes, bread, nothing extravagant or fancy, not a lot of fresh items, but still not too shabby. So today we're going to be making cabin biscuits, very simple, just a list of 4 ingredients, and I'm guessing they're going to be very similar to the hardtack recipe that I made many years ago in my hard time series. I made that as part of foods that were eaten during times of hardship. If you're curious about that, definitely check out that playlist. So let's go ahead and get started. So cabin biscuits are not fluffy scone-like pastries. They are essentially crackers, which makes a lot of sense because you have to have something that is shelf stable, that you can bring on this voyage, and you have to bring a lot of it. There were over 700 passengers just in third class alone. So we're essentially making crackers. We're gonna need 2 cups of flour, plain flour. And crackers go with a lot of things. You can serve them with soups, you can serve them with salads, you can just serve them alone or with cheese. So a lot of flexibility. So I've got my flour, and I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt and just a little bit of fat. And in this case, we're going to be using shortening, just a bit of shortening. Now we are going to rub the shortening into the flour until we get kind of crumbs. This will help with the browning. It will give some richness to the dough and some flavor as well. All right. Next, we're going to add 3/4 cup of water. I have a little bit extra here just in case, so I'm not going to add it all. and we're going to form a stiff dough. Just working that in. And because we're making crackers, it's not necessary to knead this to create a lot of gluten, because we're not interested in a stretchy dough really. We just want to make a dough. So almost there. Go a little slower with the water here. Just a tablespoon at a time. Okay. I'm going to start kneading this on the countertop just to incorporate everything, smooth it all out. The beautiful thing about wheat is that the more you kind of work it, the more gluten is developed and the dough becomes smoother, kind of transforms, and it becomes less sticky, which is great because I don't want it to be sticking to my hands. It's a great way to kind of clean up your mess a bit, but this is not essential for this recipe, like I said earlier. I'm gonna knead this a bit till it's a little smoother and less shaggy. And we're going to roll it into a 1-inch log. And this batch will give us 25 cabin biscuits. Imagine making crackers by hand. I did make, oh my gosh, a really long time ago. My kids were much smaller. I made homemade goldfish crackers just to see if I could. But could you imagine making homemade goldfish crackers for your children? We just dump them by the handful into their lunch boxes. But if you had to make them by hand, forget about it. Oh my goodness. All right, so as it goes with making dough logs, they often get skinny on the ends. So I'm trying to keep it stubby here. So that's about 1 inch in diameter. I don't think it's that important. We just want 25 pieces. So cut that in half. Each one of these will be 12. I suppose if you wanted to be really exact, you could weigh these out, but these are cabin biscuits after all. So we're not going to make them too fancy. Okay, now we've got all our pieces here, and I'm going to use my bowl so I don't have to dirty anything else. I'm just going to ball them up like that, cover them, and we're going to let the dough balls rest for 15 minutes. This allows the gluten that has formed to kind of relax a bit, and it'll make it a lot easier for us to roll these into nice thin crackers. Okay, I'll see you in 15 minutes. Alrighty, lovelies, we are back with our rested dough. Now we're going to roll these out into 2.5 inch diameter crackers. Use a little bit of flour so they don't stick to my rolling pin. Wow, they're stretching out beautifully. I thought I'd had to stretch them out more. These are going to be kind of thick, I think. About the size of the palm of my hand. Place them on a baking sheet, and then we're going to prick them with a fork so that they don't rise too much in the oven. We want these to be crackers after all. Doink! And because we let the dough rest, they roll out really easily. They don't shrink back. If you let the dough rest, it will not shrink back as much. Yeah, I like that one better. Look, that one looks like a sand dollar. Cute. These are much thicker than I thought. It almost is more like a pie crust in terms of thickness. I was imagining something more like a water cracker, you know, thinner, but I don't know. I haven't made this recipe before, and I have not eaten the results, so maybe they will dry out while they're baking. Speaking of baking, we're going to bake these at 375 degrees Fahrenheit for 15 minutes or until they're lightly golden. And I think what I'm going to do is make one tray plain, and the other I'm going to brush with a little bit of water and sprinkle some salt on them so that they have a little extra flavor. We did add salt to the dough though, so. Alrighty, lovelies, I'll see you in about 15 or 20 minutes once these have baked up. Alrighty, my lovelies, the first batch of cabin biscuits are complete, and they look pretty good. Look, they look a lot like crackers, right? Like a water cracker, but a little bit thicker. That's what they look like on the bottom. Kind of like a mini pita bread. They shrank a little bit in baking, just a little bit, and they're definitely a lot harder, but pretty cute. I like their rustic finish and how imperfect they are, and I'm curious to see how they taste. So this is the batch that I made plain, and the one I made with salt is still baking. So once I taste these, I can give those a taste. But here we are. Let's give it a snap. Oh yeah, cracks like a cracker, a little bit softer. Alrighty, let's give it a taste. This is what they would have had in third class on the Titanic. Itadakimasu. The texture is a little bit different than a cracker. It's harder rather than crisp. Hear that? And dry. Definitely crisper around the edges. In terms of flavor, it's very similar to a saltine cracker or an oyster cracker. A little less salty. I think more salt would be preferred for me. So I'm curious to taste the salt batch, but very plain kind of bread. Oh, okay. So this part of the biscuit's a little bit thinner. So this one has more of a crackery texture, but still a firm crunch rather than a kind of light, saltiny, crumbly crunch. This is firmer and much more similar to the hardtack recipe I made in my Civil War era recipe. Similar flavor too. As I remember, the hardtack were a little bit thicker and even harder than these. But that makes sense because you want something that can survive a long journey, something that if you were to pack in your rustic, if you were to pack in your pocket, it wouldn't just crumble to bits. You want something that's hard. And then you can rehydrate it in some soup or often in coffee is what I read. What would happen is you just dip them in coffee, soak them in there to soften them up so you wouldn't chip a tooth. But so very humble, but that's what we expected, right? So let's try some with cheese because cheese was also listed on the menu. This is a block of cheddar, and I love this particular cheddar. This is the unexpected cheddar from Trader Joe's. It's terrific. It's nice and sharp. It's kind of crumbly, and it's got those kind of crystals of yumminess in it. Delicious. Very, very crumbly, great cheddary texture. If you love a sharp cheddar cheese, then I recommend it. And this block goes for $3.99. Good deal too. So let's try our cabin biscuit with some cheese. Yum. Here we go. Itadakimasu. It's good. The cheese goes really well with the biscuits, which is essentially a blank canvas. It does have a little bit of salt in it, but not much. But the cheese is so flavorful. Too salty on its own, but with a little starch like that, great. Let's go ahead and try the salted version. So these look just like the others. A little bit lightly browned. And I did bake them a couple minutes longer than what was instructed because I wanted them to have this kind of tan finish to them. See what I mean? Those little brown blisters. So let's try one hot. I don't know if they were ever served hot, but let's give them a go right out of the oven. Oh, look at the bottom too. Beautiful. Itadakimasu. This is a salted version. Oh, how hot. That's funny. So these came right out of the oven, so they're a little bit softer, but immediately I thought of those odd pizza crusts that you can find in the pizza Lunchables that aren't really bread, not really pita, not really cracker, something in between, although this is much better. This is a little bit thicker than that, but I think it's also the size of it that makes me think of those pizza crusts from the Lunchables. But it's not too far removed, even though we did make this from scratch. Let's try a warm piece with some cheese. The cheese is so good. But on a warm biscuit, even better. The warmth of the biscuit really kind of wakes up the flavor of the cheese. It makes it more flavorful. And I definitely like the salted version more than the plain version. Just a little more flavor. Essentially what we have here is homemade cheese and crackers. Granted, I did not make the cheese, but I have made homemade cheese. If you want to see those videos, I'll put links down below. Alrighty, one more bite. Something about cheese and crackers, man. So good. Alrighty, my lovelies, there you have it. A little glimpse into what was served on third class on the Titanic the day it sank. Alrighty, my lovelies, thanks so much for watching, and big thanks to Built for sponsoring this video. If you'd like to try Built for yourself, please click the link down below or scan the QR code above. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one. I hope you learned something. Please share this video with your friends. Follow me on social media, like this video, subscribe, and I shall see you in the next one. Toodaloo, take care, bye! Alrighty, the kids are home from school. I'm so curious to see what they think of my homemade cheese and crackers. I know I like them.